Good morning. We are going to use the Pilates ball because we're going to do some ab work, some arm work, and it's that time of the year where it's just really cold. So what better way to warm up than to get started with the Pilates ball? So be sure to have your band because we are going to do like a little bit of a reformer combo flow as well. So let's get started with the ball at our mid back, like right between the shoulder blades. So tail's heavy, plant your feet. First, just allow your upper body to expand over the ball. So like make sure you're in a good spot. Like you don't want to be too low that it feels like it hurts the low ribs. So just as you're laying here, like make sure you're in this comfortable space. And I'm making my arms out to like cactus arms. Just allowing the upper body to stretch open, stretching open through the chest, the shoulders. And I want you to focus on your breath. So it's going to be deep breaths in, filling up the lungs, exhaling all that air out, filling up, inhaling, and exhaling. One more deep breath. I'm going to start to slide my arms overhead like they're making a diamond, and just feeling how that changes the stretch, not only in the mid back, but also through the chest and the shoulders. And take a few deep breaths here. One more deep breath. Now I'm going to draw my hands behind my head, turn my elbows slightly upward, and that just connects more into the rib cage. So take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, flex the ribs forward, head and chest curls up. And then inhaling as you allow that to go back. Exhale, flexing head and chest forward. Inhaling as you go back. A few more. Making sure that you're not pulling on your neck or head, but you're using your ribs to curl you forward. Stay lifted and hold. Flex your right leg up to tabletop. Lower it down. Left leg flexes in and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Connecting deeper into your lower abs. Making sure that you're not like squishing, pancaking the ball with your upper body. Like kind of feel like you're trying to reprieve your weight from the ball. So you connect a little bit more into those upper abs. Last round. Let the head go back. Take a deep breath in at the bottom. Exhale, as you flex forward, lift the right leg up to tabletop as well. Inhale as the leg and the head go back. We're going to stay on that same leg. Exhale, flex the right leg and the head forward. Inhaling as you go back. Exhale, flex for 3. Inhale, reach apart. Flex together for 2. Inhale, reach apart. Exhale, flex together and hold it here. Tap your leg down. Flex to pull it back in. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. For 3, 2. Last one. Hold your leg up at tabletop. Allow the upper abs to go back. Exhale, flex forward. Inhaling back. Exhaling to flex. For 3, 2. One last time. Curl forward and hold. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release everything down. Inhaling as you prepare, going to the other side. Exhale, left leg flexes up, head and chest curls forward. Inhale as you lower the head and the leg. Exhale, flex and curl forward. Inhale, tapping down together. Exhale, lift and squeeze. 2. One more. Stay lifted and hold. Just the leg. Tap it down. Lift it up. Down. Up. For 3, 2, 1. Hold it here. Just the head. Lower. Exhale, curl. Down. Exhale, up. For 3, 2, 1. And lower. Head goes back. Good. We're going to remove the ball from under our lower back, and we're going to place the ball under the pelvis. So grounding your hips, let's do a few little pelvic tilts. So without levitating the hips away from the ball, I want you to feel your abdominals contract as you're tipping pubic bone towards belly button. And then you're arching your pelvis over the ball. Pelvic tilt towards you, heavy pelvis, so it's more of a core connection. And then away from you. One more time, pelvic tilt. And then tip away from you. Now find that neutral spine. Without moving your knees or your thighs, dip your right hip down towards the mat. Back to center. Dip the left hip down towards the mat. Back to center. And then if you're having a hard time doing this without moving your thighs, really focus on letting go, right? Like let go of any of that tension in the pelvis, because your pelvis is two separate entities from right to left side. They're not adhesed together, right? Everything's held together by your muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So you should be able to move your pelvis without moving your legs. Good. One more each side. My left side, psoas is really tight, so I can feel when I'm on this left side. It's such a lovely stretch in that psoas on the left side. All right, so this next series, if you want a challenge, you can hover your arms away from the mat. If you need stability, you can press your arms down into the mat. We're going to bring the right leg up to tabletop. And we're going to draw the left arm up to the sky. And again, you can hover your right arm for a little bit more challenge. Feel this inner thigh connection, this like scissoring connection of your right and left inner thigh. And my palm on the left arm is facing in. I'm slowly going to allow this arm to open out to the side and not allow any shift or change in my body. And then exhale as the arm comes back in. Opening the arm out to the side. Exhale, pulling back into center. Open for 3, 2. One more time. Take it out to the side. Back into center. Hold your arms still. Tap your right leg down. Exhale, flex the right leg up. I'm focusing on moving from my leg hip socket, not where my feet are going, right? Because I want to keep the hip opening up and not change the joint of my knee, changing the joint of my pelvis. 2 more. Connecting deeper into the core. Last one. We're going to add on the leg and the arm move together. So as the arm goes out, the leg taps down, pull everything back in together. Apart. Together. Keeping your front ribs heavy. One more. And then release everything down. So right arm goes to the sky, left leg goes to tabletop, and I'm hovering my left arm to keep me focusing on my balance. First, my right arm goes out to the side, exhaling back in. Open from the chest, exhale, close it back in. For 3, staying nice and stable, find those inner thighs scissoring together. 2, ribs are heavy. Last one, hold it here. Now the left leg hinges down. Exhale, flex it in. Hinge and lift. For 3, 2, 1, hold it here. As the leg taps down, let the arm open out. Exhale, pull back together. Stretch apart. Exhale, together. One more. And rest it down. So again, next series, the whole time you can always hover your arms. That's going to make it a little bit more challenging. If not, ground down through the upper thoracic spine and the upper arm bone. Bringing both of your legs to tabletop. I like a frog leg tabletop. So my knees are aiming to about my shoulder distance, and shoulders, ribs are heavy. Keep the pelvis heavy, finding that nice long line from head to tail. I'm going to extend my legs from my hips, my thighs, focusing on trying to soften my hips and then flexing back in. As I extend out, I feel this zipping up of my inner thighs, this stretching long of my belly. Inhaling to reach, exhaling to flex. Two more. Last one. Hold your legs long. Deep lower abs. Lift the legs to the sky and reach out and away from you. Exhale as you lift. Inhaling as you reach down and out. Deep lower abs. Fold the legs up. Inhale, soften through the hips to lower. Exhaling up. Two more. Inhale, reach out and down. Last one. Exhale, lift. And then bend your knees into your chest. Hold and hug your knees in. Feel how your lower back kind of rounds like a ball. And then send deep breaths again back into the back of the ribs. Exhaling into the lower waistline. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Good. Let's remove that ball from underneath us and let's place the ball on the floor. Place your right foot on top of the ball. So I don't want like just my heel on the ball. I want to feel my whole foot cupping over the top of the ball, okay? So pressing down through the back of the arms and shoulders, and I'm thinking of a flat back. So I'm hinging, rooting down into my feet, lifting my hips up, but I don't want my ribs to flare. I do want to feel this nice long line from my shoulders to my knees. And then hinge from the hips to lower that back down. Root down, lift the hips up, and then lower those hips. Exhale, pressing. Inhale, lowering. Root and press. Inhale, down. You should feel that instability underneath that right ankle, right foot, right? So it's making that inner outer thigh work a little bit more on this right side. We've got two more. Squeeze at the top, lower with control. Last one, hold it here. So we're pressing through the back of the arms and shoulders. I'm going to drag the ball away as my leg extends and exhale, pull back in. Press and reach out through the back of the thigh, pull back in. 3, pull. 2, pull. Last one, pull it all the way in and lower with control. Switch the ball over to the left side. Make sure again that your whole foot is on the ball. Pressing down through back of the arms and shoulders, flat back, bottom lifts, ribs are heavy, bottom lowers. Root down, press up, lower with control. 3, lift and lower. Root, press, squeeze, lower. Last one. Stay lifted and hold. Extend the leg long. pull it in. Press and reach. Bend it in. For 3, stay lifted in those hips. Press through the back of the arms and shoulders. Good. One more time. Bring it back in. Lower the hips down. Now place both of your feet on top of the ball. If you let your knees go, your hips are going to be super wobbly because your inner thighs connect at the same spot as your pelvic floor. So if your inner thighs are disconnected, the pelvic floor is disconnected, right? So keep your legs drawing together. Both of your feet arches over the top of the ball. You're not going to lift near as high because you're close together, which puts more pressure on that lower back. So bottoms up, don't push yourself too far, and keep your ribs connected. Lower those hips back down. Root down and lift up and lower. So my rooting down is coming from my upper body, not my feet. Because if we press into the feet to lift those hips up, you're going to cramp your hamstrings and it's not going to feel good. Then, of course, once they're cramped, they never stop cramping. So press through the upper back muscles to lift you up. 2 more. Squeeze at the top. Last one. Press and hold. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Last deep breath. Exhale. Lower everything down. Grab the back of your legs. My ball stuck to my feet. Kick your legs to the sky. Flex and point your feet a few times. And then rock up to seated. So I want to set up my band. So I'm going to place the band around my couch leg. Okay? So this is my assimilation of my reformer. I'm going to lay myself between the bands, place the ball back underneath my hips. So make sure before you begin, yep, I'm in a good spot, okay? So you want the ball where you feel stable, okay? All right, arms to the sky, legs to tabletop. My tail's heavy, my ribs are heavy, and I'm visualizing like I'm growing out through the crown of my head. Connecting into my ribs and underarms. I'm pressing those arms long by my side. And I'm resisting as I lift those arms back up to the sky. Exhaling as I lower. Inhaling as I lift. Starting to add single leg reach, both arms. One leg's going to extend. Control back in. Alternate, reach, control back in. For 3. Both legs in. Now both legs, both arms. Reach together, control back in. Press and extend, control it in. Two more. Last one. Hold your arms and legs long. Arms and legs lift straight up. Exhale, press down. Lift arms and legs to the sky. Tail stays heavy. Lower to your point of control. Reaching up for 3. Pressing out. Up for 2. Press and reach. One last time. Reach it all the way out long. Reach into those underarms. Relax your glutes. Beat your inner thighs. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last breath. In. Exhale. Bend your knees. Release your straps. And remove your ball from underneath you. Place your feet out wide. Let your knees fall to the right. Maybe your right foot goes on your left knee, giving you a little extra stretch here. Drop your foot, switch sides. Left foot on right knee, little extra stretch. Good. Carefully rock up to seated. We're gonna spin around and face where our band is coming from. So we're gonna do like a single arm variation. So if holding on to both ends of your band is too heavy, you can always just hold the other end with the one hand. So you have that option of being able to go lighter. So I'm gonna scoot back just a little bit. And palm for me is gonna face up. So I'm grabbing through so it goes between my index finger and thumb. So I'm sitting up nice and tall, stacking my shoulders over my hips, keeping my ribs heavy. And I'm gonna do a bicep curl, flexing in towards my head, keeping the shoulder just slightly below, the elbow just slightly below the shoulder. And I'm extending and reaching out. Exhale, flex and curl in. Inhaling as I reach. Exhale to flex. Ribs are heavy as we flex in, feeling like the ribs are expanding across the upper mid-back. Two more. Last one. Straighten through the arm. Curl the tail under, round halfway back. For me, with my legs here in this C curve, it ends up being like a lot of pressure on my low back. So I just soften my knees and all of a sudden my pelvis is like, thank you. So again, bicep curl, flexing in and extending long. Shoulders in pockets. Feel that hollowing scoop of your belly as you flex in. For 3, 2, 1. Straighten through the arm, curl through the spine back to seated. We're gonna add on, we're gonna do little rib flexion crunches. So tip under, round back, maybe soften your knees. Hold your bicep curl, and then just the ribs, flex forward, release it back. Just the ribs, flex and release. 4. Feel like the ribs are flexing deeper toward your hips. The hips don't move, just the upper back muscles. Last 3. Last 2. One last time. Curl all the way up to seated. Let's hold the band in the other side. So sitting tall. Oh, sorry. Nope. I forgot. I wanted to do one more thing. So palm faces down. Sitting up nice and tall. So still on the right side. Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you. So we're gonna row this elbow out to the side. I want my elbow in line with my shoulder. I don't want it going behind me, okay? So I'm in line with my shoulder and my hand is wide with my elbow. So now I'm feeling the back of the shoulder blade working. I'm gonna extend that arm forward. Exhale to row. Palm faces down, reach. Elbow pulls wide to the side. So I'm connecting with the back side of that arm and shoulder. One more. Row, straighten through the arm. Tip the tail under, rounding back. Again, I like to soften my knees. Stay square as you row and straighten. Row and straighten. 3 more. There's a difference between pulling with the front of the shoulder and connecting and pulling with the back of the shoulder. Last one. Straighten through the arm, curl up to seated. Now we're gonna go to the other side. So again, bicep curl, palm goes through, thumbs between the index finger holding the band. Sitting nice and tall, bicep curl towards the temple and extend the arm. Flex and lengthen. One more. Extend through the arm, tip the tail under, C curve back, soften those knees, keep the hips square, flexing in, extending out. Straighten through the arm, use your core to roll you up to seated. Taking a deep breath in at the top. Exhale, tipping under, rounding back. Bicep curl, hold your bicep curl, relax your shoulders. Flex into the ribs, release it back. Little crunch and release. Keep your bicep curl the whole time. Think of leading with the ribs, scooping deeper down in towards those hips. Exhale, flex. 3 more. Flex. 2. 1 more. Curl all the way up to seated. Turn your palm to face down, sitting nice and tall. We have our rows. We lead with the elbow, elbows out to the side, but not behind the shoulder. And then extend the arm forward. Row, pull, and reach. Flex, and lengthen. Shoulders back and down. Last one. Straighten through the arm, curl the tail under, soften the knees if you need to. Stay square in the ribs and shoulders as you row and reach. Row and reach. Lead with the elbow as you pull. 2 more. Last one. Row, straighten through the arm, curl up to seated. Good. We're gonna get into our glutes and we're gonna use the ball. So let's start on our left side, laying on our left side. And you're gonna take the ball and place it behind your right knee. I'm gonna come all the way down onto the mat. My bottom leg's gonna stay slightly bent. I'm stacked in my shoulders, ribs, and my hips. Okay, so my knees are kind of angled downward. They're not directly in front of me at a 90-degree bend, but more like a 45-degree angle away from me. So the top leg, I'm gonna float it up like fire hydrant, and I'm thinking of lifting from my outer hip and thigh, and then lowering the leg down. Lift and lower. Last 3, 2, hold it up on 1. We're going to tap the knee down to meet the bottom knee. So it's this internal rotation and then back to neutral. Tap the knee down to meet the bottom knee, back to neutral. Checking in that my hip hasn't rotated forward, just the thigh bone. 3, 2, 1. Hold it neutral. Now I'm going to externally rotate and touch my feet together. Hips are still stacked. Now I'm going to internally rotate, touch my knees together. Externally rotate feet, internally rotate knees. Spiraling this leg in the hip socket, you can feel how that really connects into that medial glute. This is where most people tend to be weak. Not moving your hips, but just the thigh. 2, 1, hold it here. So my external rotation, my hips are stacked. Drop the knee down, open the knee up, keeping my feet glued together. Feel that squeeze in your glute as you lift. Squeeze. 9, 10. Lower the leg down. Lift the leg up and turn it into circles, coming forward, up to the sky, back in line with my hip, forward, up to the sky, back in line with my hip. 3, 2. Let's reverse those. Up and around for 8. Trying to get that full range of motion. 2. 1 more. And rest. Let's remove the ball. Plant your foot in front of your bottom leg. Push your knee away from you, stretching your outer hip and thigh. Good. Before we go to the other side, we're going to place the ball below our ribs, so like kind of low rib area. And then we're going to lay over the ball. I want you to stack your hands. Make sure your legs are narrow. They don't have to touch, but you don't want them wider than your hips, because when we do this wider than our hip situation, it goes into the sacrum. So we want the legs to be parallel. That was my pelvis that just popped. Stack your hands, stack your head to your hands, and you can feel while we're here, there's like no tension in the shoulders. So make note that if we lift the elbows, then you get tension in the shoulders, right? So we're not lifting from the elbows, we're lifting from the upper thoracic spine. So try hard to keep your elbows kind of low here, and by all means, like adjust your ball if this doesn't feel like a comfortable spot for you. Highly suggest maybe going lower as opposed to up higher. So take a deep breath in. We're keeping hands stacked to your forehead, and we're gonna inhale, lift the upper body, going into extension of the spine, checking in, keeping the pubic bone heavy and feeling your navel pulling towards your spine. And then exhaling as you round over the ball. Inhaling as we lift up, exhaling as we lower. Working the upper back muscles, again checking in that the elbows stay below the shoulders, so you're not bearing any tension in the neck or top shoulders. Enough of life gives you tension there. We don't need to do it in our exercises. 2 more. Last one. Hold it here where we're lifted. We're going to extend our arms out long, bend them back to the head, lower the head and chest down. Inhale, floating up. Extend and bend those arms. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift. Extend and bend. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift. Extend and bend. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. Extend and bend. Exhale to lower. Now we're going to go into a little rotation. And when we're thinking of rotation, I'm thinking of turning my elbow towards the ceiling. So first we want to go to that hover, and we're rotating right elbow towards the ceiling, back to center. Left elbow rotates towards the ceiling, back to center. Visualizing that shoulder crossing up and over towards the opposite hip. 2 more. Last one. And rest. Press back into a child's pose, removing your ball from underneath you, and just breathe into the low back, breathe into the low ribs. Then we have to do that whole hip series on the left butt. So we're going to lay on our right side, place the ball behind the left knee, lay all the way down. Shoulders, ribs, and hips are stacked. First, we start with fire hydrant. We're focusing on lifting from the outer hip and thigh as we draw the leg up and the leg comes down. Lift and lower. Nine, one more, hold it up. We're internally rotating, knees to touch. Remember to watch that the hips don't start to roll forward. Back to neutral, knees to touch, back to neutral. 9, 10. Now externally rotate, feet to touch, internally rotate, knees to touch, feet to feet, knees to knees, feet to feet, knees to knees. 2 more. Last one. Hold your feet together, lower the knees, open the knee, remembering to keep those hips stacked. Nine, 10, lower the leg, turn this into circles, forward, back in line with the hips, you open the hips, circle around for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's reverse that direction, forward, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, getting that full range of motion, 7 and 8. Remove your ball, plant your foot in front of your bottom thigh, pushing your knee away from you, stretching your hip out. Good. And we're going to do one more little ab series before we call it quits. So, grab your ball. Left foot is planted on the floor, right leg goes up to the sky. Ball is in your hands. Drop your tail heavy, relax your glutes. Take a deep breath in. We're going to climb the ball up the leg, lifting the head and chest up, lowering back down the leg. Curl forward, lift, reach, lowering with control. For 3, down, up for 2, lower. One more time, lift and hold it here. Keep your focus down on your belly, not up at your toes. Straighten your left leg, lengthen out your spine. Lift the left leg, lower. Exhale, lift, inhale, down. For 3, reach. 2, reach. 1, lower, scissor switch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Rest it down. Plant your right foot, extend your left leg. Climb up the thigh, tail stays heavy. Lower down the leg. Curl and lift. Inhale to lower. Exhale for 3, 2. Hold it up on 1. Keep your gaze down, straighten your right leg, lift the right leg, lower. Hold, scissor, switch. And rest. Good job. All right, we are all through. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.